What is up, my T-Spiracy people? If you are new here, my name is AZ. Hit the subscribe button. If you're extra nasty, you can hit the like button. Okay. I want to do a little story time. I came across this little story that Creepshow Art had written on Reddit about her family, and I thought it was rather telling. So I figured I could read it for you guys, and then you could tell me what you think in the comments down below. Alright, so as many of you know, I had found a video the other day of Creepshow actually talking into the camera and making excuses for why her channel was acting funny and glitching and whatever, In the midst of me finding that very interesting video, I came across a couple other things that I thought speak to what kind of person Shannon really is. So on Reddit, there was a question, an Ask Reddit question, right? 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Ask Reddit. And the question is, who is the worst person you've ever met? Creepshow Fantasy was her name at the time on Reddit, so this was 3 years ago. Creepshow Fantasy responds, "My sister, without a doubt. She's incredibly selfish and entitled and doesn't like it when there are consequences to her actions at all. When we were younger, she was the good kid, because she was super smart and knew how to do well in school. She also ran track and cross country and was really successful in things that she would do. So our parents never really got mad at her, even when they probably should have. Which is why I am as tough as nails, and she freaks out when there are consequences to her actions. She's a lesbian and I am bi, and when I was growing up, she told me I wasn't gay enough to be in the LGBT, and that I was a hetero passing, so essentially, I didn't have a right to complain about anything. She also would try to get me to date my platonic straight friends, to the point where it made them uncomfortable because she was literally forcing something on them they didn't want. She also messed with my body image, telling me I had no chest or ass, and was shaped like an ant when I was growing up, which contributed to my eating disorder. She blamed pretty much everything on me growing up and bullied me pretty badly. She was also very aware that I was injuring myself when I was younger and didn't try to help, something which I forgave her for later on in life because she felt really strongly about it. Most of what I listed, I forgave her for before realizing I had to cut her off. I ended up cutting her off because she hated my life partner because he was male. She had had this useless vendetta against him since he came into my life and would constantly try to undermine our relationship. She would tell people he was awful to me and get people extremely worried about my health, when the truth of the matter was that we were fine. It was pretty typical teen drama. Past that, we broke up for a day and then got back together, and she went on a Twitter spree ranting about how our relationship must have been abusive and was subtweeting me as if I was a victim of abuse, which I found insulting because my partner has PTSD and is a victim of abuse. Her Twitter spree was so stupid and thinly veiled that I had people asking me if it was true, which was incredibly insulting. Then she started claiming I was a racist and a white nationalist. Why? Because I was living in my car in a city where the protests were turning into riots after the election, and I posted on Facebook that I was scared and people shouldn't be rioting. They had set a car on fire literally a block away from where I would sleep, and it was chaos. But according to my sister, my safety was not important because it wasn't about my safety. It was about Trump. She also, at the time, made it clear that she did not care that I was living in dire circumstances, but rather it was my fault for not checking in with her to see how she was doing. Because she's gayer than me and her feelings matter more. I am not kidding. She told me, "It sucks you're still in a car, but you've never once thought about how I was dealing with this. This man is president, and he hates me because of who I am, and you never once thought of your queer sister. But I am also queer, so like, what?" But that was ludicrous in and of itself, and she was fun to make fun of, so I didn't cut her out then. Then she posted a giant post on Tumblr, one that accused my entire family of being jealous of her, including our brother who had passed away only a couple years prior. We are supposed to be jealous because she graduated from a 4-year university and no one else in the family has. She got her degree in broadcast journalism and has used it 0 times since then, but I guess I'm jealous. In the post, she accused my parents of being white nationalists as well, despite them not being that. She also rallied against our family as not caring about her because she was gay and no one had tried to reach out to her, even going as far as to say that we all hated her because she was queer and none of us could handle that. But my parents had been nothing but supportive and loving towards her after she came out. The final straw was when my dad was having a heart attack a few months ago and coming very close to dying. He spent about 2 months in the hospital and still has to go to physical therapy. During this time, my mom desperately reached out to her because she was terrified. I was on the phone with my mom constantly and tried to calm her down as much as possible. However, my sister never reached out once. She still hasn't said anything to anyone, essentially sticking to the idea that everyone in the family hates her because she is gay and everyone is underneath her. Despite my parents reaching out, trying to appease her, paying bills for her, allowing her to put them in debt, and so much more. TLDR, my sister thinks she's above everyone else in the family because she went to a 4-year university that they paid for, has claimed my boyfriend is abusive because he's a straight male, said our dead brother was always jealous of her and is better off dead, and claimed my entire family are white nationalists despite the fact we are not. Oh, and told the victim of actual mental and physical abuse that his pain didn't matter because he's a straight white male. The end. What do you guys think about this? I mean, she's referring to Anthony as somebody who's been abused. She's referring to him as somebody who is abusive, according to her sister anyways. I mean, this sounds kind of suspect. I'm starting to wonder, like, if her sister really did find him to be, bad for Creepshow or whatever. And not only that, I mean, why would she call her parents white if they really weren't that? I mean, she paints this picture like her sister is like this horrible monster, and that, Shannon herself was the saving grace of the family on the phone with the mother when the father was sick. I mean, do you guys believe this? I have to ask this question, I want to know what you guys think of the claims she made. I want to know if you believe it. I want to know what parts you do believe and what parts you don't. And yeah, so this is pretty wild. I mean, and the part that really got me is when she said, I basically kept my sister around because she was fun to make fun of. Yikes. And then she talks about how she lived in dire circumstances, being homeless, and etc., etc. So yeah, let me know what you think in comments down below. This is just, she hit on like every single point, that's been happening lately, which is kind of weird. Anyways, thanks for tuning into my video. I do appreciate you watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the comments. Bye guys.